578-6101 or visit fountaingroveinns.com. What's Cooking program, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, travel, and entertainment show. I'm Michael Horn, and along with Paul Stern. Where are we heading, Paul?
Well, Mike, if you're looking for beef, you came to the right place. We have with us Deborah Krasner. Talk about meat sourcing and cooking sustainable meat.
Welcome, Deborah. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you're with us here. So talk to us. You're enamored here with meat. What's the deal? How did this start out?
Well, I started cooking a lot of local grass-fed and pastured meat in 1 year because suddenly it was available at my local farmers market in Vermont.
Wow.
And so I ordered half a cow, half a pig, and
Wow.
a lamb. And I suddenly realized that my youngest child was actually going off to college, and we were a much smaller family than I'd ordered the meat for. And my husband had just found out that he had high cholesterol and had a year to bring it down.
Oh.
But we had to eat this meat. So we ate our way through these large quantities of grass-fed and pastured meat. And at the end of the year, my husband's cholesterol had gone down 40 points.
40. Okay, so here's the thing. We've talked about this before, about grass-fed and these, as you mentioned in your book, by the way, we should say your new book is called Good Meat, The Complete Guide to Sourcing and Cooking Sustainable Meat. So you're saying, while most doctors, most everybody thinks that eating meat is bad for the cholesterol levels, if you find out where the meat comes from and you know a little bit about the background, it actually can help you. Your husband lost 40
That's
points?
Right. Yes, 40 points of bad cholesterol. And the thing is that all of the research that's been conducted on red meat and cholesterol linkage has been based on industrial corn-fed meat, grain-finished meat. And the research that's now coming out about animals that are raised traditionally on grass shows that it's actually much healthier for you. It's so much leaner that if you did nothing but switch to grass-fed beef for your beef consumption for a year, you would discover that 6 ounces of grass-fed steak is equal in fat to a boneless chicken breast, and you would lose 6 pounds over the course of the year by doing nothing but eating grass-fed beef instead of your usual beef.
So the packing the fat on the meat with the corn feeding at the end is what does damage to our bodies when we eat the meat then?
That's right. And it also changes the nutritional profile because grass-fed meat is much higher in CLAs, conjugated linoleic acids, in vitamins, in certain heart-healthy fats. It has a good balance of omega-3s and omega-6s, which are the crucial fatty acids, which are heart-friendly and associated with a lower risk of high blood pressure and a 50% reduction in the risk of serious heart attacks. Amazing, right? From meat.
That is amazing, amazing. Yes, Paul.
I got to bring up the question at the very least. Deborah, do you ever kind of get a little bit, I don't want to say necessarily irked, but a little bit concerned when all this craze seems to be at the forefront of the, let's say, the food movement towards this Kobe or the fattier content, the more marbling, the better kind of approach to what's best?
I think all of us are really so deeply ignorant about food, about nutrition, about what's good for. I mean, it's really hard to understand all the competing claims that we're constantly faced with. But it's also true that different breeds of cattle have different degrees of marbling. And even, Black Angus steers, for example, when they're raised on grass, they're relatively more marbled than other grass-fed beef, and, by the way, delicious. So I think that your palate has to be the arbiter, and if you're trying to switch to grass-fed and pastured meats, you should buy meat from lots of different purveyors to discover what pleases you.
So that's a key. So even if you're going to grass-fed, go and find out what you like. Now, what about going to a restaurant? How do you sift through all that? Because what's on the menu is on the menu, and if they don't have grass-fed beef, you're kind of out of luck.
That's right. So when I go to a restaurant, if they don't have grass-fed beef, I don't order it.
Really?
All right. So you will go with the seafood or something else on the menu.
Exactly.
I like this. Now, where can we get your book? The book is called, by the way, Good Meat, The Complete Guide to Sourcing and Cooking Sustainable Meat.
It's everywhere, I'm happy to tell you. It is everywhere, both online and in local bookstores.
Does it help us find the grass-fed meat? I mean, will you give us tips as to where to find it?
Absolutely. The whole back of the book has a source section, and it has national sources such as Lasson's beef, which raises amazing, tender, mouth-watering grass-fed beef in Montana and ships it all over the country.
How about tall grass beef there out of Kansas with our buddy Bill Curtis, the former
That's right.
CBS
He's
newsman?
in there too. And, there are lots and lots of sources, both nationally and locally, but the advantage of buying locally is, of course, that you can buy meat in quantity if you want to, frozen in packages.
Yes.
At enormous savings.
All right, so I'm going to get this book. You're saying this book is everywhere. It's at bookstores everywhere. I have to get this book. Good Meat, The Complete Guide to Sourcing and Cooking Sustainable Meat. And Deborah Krasner, you are the author. This book's been out how long?
Oh, it came out September 1st. It's brand new.
I love this. So and you're saying your husband lost 40 bad cholesterol points just by eating this grass-fed beef.
That's right.
How about
let me say
yes, go ahead.
One more thing, which is a lot of people try grass-fed beef, and then they don't like it because it doesn't cook up well, or they don't understand how to cook it. So the other really important thing that the book does is teaches you how to cook this meat, which is leaner and less insulated by its fat, so that it doesn't turn to shoe leather. Because it's quite simple to cook, but it's different from cooking
so when I
the meat you've been buying.
I barbecued the grass-fed beef hot dogs. You got to do those kind of very quickly, right? Because if you do them the traditional way, you're going to fry them up into like dust, so to speak, because they're leaner, right?
Yes. So what you have to do is cook them very fast and never past medium rare.
Deborah will have to have you back.
Yeah, Deborah,
I'd love
this is
to
good.
come back.
This is good stuff. I'm loving it there. Again, the book is called Good Meat, the complete guide here to sourcing the complete. The exact title is Good Meat, the complete guide to sourcing and cooking sustainable meat. Thanks so much for being with us, and we'll be back.
Support our